Are going to be starting seeds today. I went ahead and I got all my stuff out. I have some seed trays here. I have a couple of them, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And then in case I don't have enough of these, I also went to Walmart this morning and picked up just some plain old Solo cups, just the plastic ones. I like to get the ones that are see-through so that I can actually see what's happening with the root systems inside on all of my plants. Inside today, the weather is kind of cold and then also really hot, so I'm sure the jacket will be coming on and off and on again. But we are going to be starting hopefully everything today. I have not started one thing yet. My last frost date is about 5-6-ish weeks out. Just kidding, not, probably closer to 5. So we gotta get this stuff started, get them on the shelves, get them on the heat lamps and under the lights and all of that good stuff so that everything can start growing. I'm using just a run-of-the-mill seed starting mix that you can get from Menards. It's the Master Gardens brand. If you're curious, nothing super fancy here. I have this tote here that I'm going to dump my soil in, add some water, get it mixed up, and then just start shoving soil into my trays here and get them started. I want to start with my tomatoes and my peppers because that's what's most important to get started today. So let's go ahead and just start rocking it. So we're just gonna mix this up, get it a little bit moist. I'm gonna add my water a little bit at a time just so that the soil is kind of already hydrated when we put our seeds in. This is a huge reason why I wanted to do this outside today, because all this mess can just stay outside and I won't have to deal with it on the inside. So I kind of went through and sorted these over the weekend by category. So I'm gonna start with my cherry tomatoes today. And I'm just gonna look through just to make sure I'm not overlooking anything. Don't think I am. I'm gonna be doing these moonbeams and also these Isis candy cherry tomatoes. These are the only two I'm doing this year. So we are gonna start with our cherry tomatoes today. The day before this, I went down into the garden and just kind of sat down in a chair and kind of mapped out where I'm gonna put things, how much I'm gonna put in. When I was doing that, I just kind of tried to do the math on how many plants I thought I was going to use. Every year we have put the garden in, we have expanded the garden. So we tilled it up this year and once again it expanded. So I'm never knowing how many plants exactly I need to stretch across the garden. We've also changed the direction in which we plant in the garden and that changed things last year. So I'm always just guessing, and one day my garden will stay the same size and I will know exactly how many plants go across and all of the things. So for right now we're playing a guessing game and I'm just going to go on the side of more plants started is better. Having too many I can always give away versus not having enough. So that's where I'm kind of landing right now with all of my. We actually got this stack of trays off of an online auction site. Sometimes they sell basically just big pallets of stuff, and if you want anything on the pallet you have to take the whole pallet, and this was just something that happened to be in a box on a pallet that my husband bought and it worked out really well. So this is the first year I'm using these. They are drained on the bottom. There's little holes in the bottom of these little cells, so they do drain the water out if you were curious. But this is the first time I'm using these. I ended up getting 8 of them, which is perfect for what I need to use them for. So we're going to use these for all of our seeds that we're starting today. I'm just writing right on the tray here. I'm just gonna make it easier for myself, make sure that I'm always doing just one full row, or I will mark where the seedlings stop and the next set starts. So I just did 12 of the iris cherries and we're gonna do 12 of these moonbeams as well. Now I'm going in with my moonbeams. These are a really great tomato. We've grown these every single year, but I've always gotten them from a local nursery and I've never known what they were called. So when I was looking on MI Gardener's website and I saw them, I thought, yes, absolutely, I'm ordering these because now I finally know what they are and I can start them. They are a really nice kind of like teardrop shaped yellow tomato. They are much less acidic
than tomatoes, specifically cherry tomatoes. And that's really great if you love to snack on tomatoes, but you keep snacking on them all summer long while you're in the garden or doing whatever in pasta salads. And that acidity kind of messes with your mouth, it messes with your tongue. It can hurt your stomach a little bit if you're a little bit more sensitive to that. And some of our kids are. So these are a really great tomato for that. They're delicious in pasta salads, and if I ever have too many cherry tomatoes, I just dump them in my roaster pan while I'm making spaghetti sauce or pizza sauce, and I throw them in and blend them up whole, and it works really, really well. The other thing we're starting are tomatillos. I did 4 of these, and I might go back and start a couple more. I have started tomatillo seeds every year, and I have never once gotten harvest. I always have some that die on me, and I've always only had one go into the garden, and I didn't know until last year or the year before that you have to have 2 tomatillo plants to get any fruit. So if you have just one survive, it's not going to work. You won't get any fruit off of it. They need each other to pollinate and to have healthy fruit. So this year is hopefully the year I'll get some tomatillas. So I do think I'm going to go back and start at least a couple more just to kind of ensure my odds, because this is not something that I can buy at a local nursery where I am at. I just can't. So we're going to go ahead and start more seeds here. And you can see, you guys, you do not need any super fancy equipment. I'm using a pencil. So don't think that if you are just starting out, because this can be expensive if you're buying seed trays and all of your seeds in the soil, it can get a little pricey. So don't think that you need everything the best quality or the fanciest. These are just old secondhand seed trays. I don't even know how much we ended up paying for these because they were on a pallet of stuff. So I don't know, just I don't even know how much we would have paid for these in hindsight for the entire pallet breakdown. But a pencil works just fine to go ahead and label your seeds, to use them as little hole makers. So don't think you need anything super fancy, especially when you're starting.
I'm going to do a whole roll of my regular aromas. I am switching out from doing more slicing tomatoes to doing more paste tomatoes this year, which is something I've never done before, and I am very excited. One of the major issues I've had over the last, I'd say 2 years or so, as I've gotten way more into starting my own seeds and making a lot of my own stuff, is that a lot of my tomato products take forever to cook down, or they're very runny, which is okay, but I do want to fix that problem, and growing paste tomatoes is going to do that for me. So that's why we're switching to more paste tomatoes and just growing less slicers, which tend to have a lot more of a water content and not as much meat, which is typically why they make a more runny sauce. Doing this in the wind is turning out to be very difficult because it's blowing my seeds everywhere. It's so windy though. And I guess that's just going to be my trade-off today. If I want to get this done, and I want to get it done outside and save my house from the messes, I'm just going to have to deal with the wind a little bit today. My next 2 rows are going to be another row of Romas and then another row of, or a row of these striped Romas that I'm doing. This is a little bit more of a fun tomato, but it's still a Roma, so I don't feel bad about growing it. We're gonna do more tomatoes. I have some chocolate tomatoes we're gonna get rid of from last year. I have some Homestead tomatoes left over from last year. I also have these big rainbows that I ordered this year, and those are the last of my tomatoes. These are all slicing tomatoes. I don't think I'm gonna plant a lot of these, except maybe the Homestead tomato. I'm very excited to try. I didn't get any last year. All of my seeds of these, actually I was carrying these out. If you haven't subscribed that long, I started a bunch of these Homestead tomatoes last year. I was carrying them outside to get hardened off, and my dogs ran out underneath me, tripped me, and I dropped the entire tray of all of my tomatoes. So it was okay, it was just really disappointing. It was like a week before they were gonna go in the garden, so it was just super disappointing, but it happens. So hopefully this will be the year I get these going, and then I think that'll be all of my tomatoes. I could be wrong. but we'll see. I think this tray here is going to be, oops, poking on the wrong end here. I think most of this tray is going to end up being peppers. I have a couple different varieties of peppers I'm going to grow this year. Some of these cells are just not full enough for me. Okay, I think I'm going to start with these chocolate stripes because there's not that many left in here. Like I said, whoo, that wind. I am using these up from last year. Oh no, my seeds flew everywhere. And then if I reach one that needs to be adjusted, I'll just adjust it a little bit. If it's not very full of soil, I'll just add more from our pot here.
Homestead tomatoes I got because it said on the website that they were very versatile. So they are more of like a slicing tomato shape and size, but they are a lot more of a thick tomato, a hearty tomato. It's a really versatile tomato. So the water content isn't as super high as it would be in like a beefsteak or a big boy tomato. It's a little bit more meaty, more like aroma, but it's great specifically for sauces and things like that. And we were talking about earlier how it's really important to grow what is most important to your preserving or what you're going to make out of all of these things. And that's exactly what I need, and I make the absolute most of are pizza sauces and spaghetti sauces and barbecue sauces and all of those things. So we are starting a ton of these homestead tomatoes. This might be one of the things I'm actually most excited about when it comes to growing, to see how it makes a change in my preserving and in the consistency of my sauces. A lot of my sauces are a little bit more watery than I would like and that my husband would like. It used to not bother us at all, but for some reason this winter we've made more comments on it than we ever have previously. So I'm very excited to get my tomatoes switched over. Hopefully I can get some thicker sauces. I'm going to try cooking them down a lot longer this year. I'm going to try cooking down my sauces a little bit more this year, trying some different things to get them thicker. And I'm really excited about that. I have high hopes for that. I have problem solved some solutions here, at least I think I have, and we'll just have to see how things go. But I'm very hopeful that this year our tomato sauces and things will be a hair bit thicker than they have been in the past, and I think these aromas are going to really be the trick for us. So I'm very excited about it. I'm very optimistic about it, but things always change, and just because you have a plan doesn't mean that the garden is always going to agree with that plan. So we'll see what ends up actually happening, but I'm very excited about it.
I ended up doing a bunch of poblanos, 2 jalapenos, and then on the end here we have those big Jim peppers as well. So moving on, this whole row here is going to be just some good old-fashioned bell peppers here. This is different than what I typically grow, what typically grows here. So usually the only thing that grow well up here for bell peppers are California Wonders. I'm gonna give these a go. If they don't germinate, they don't look good, I'll get some California Wonders from the nursery. I think I'm gonna do that regardless, just as a backup, but we'll see how these go up here. So this is just a little bit of an experiment. I got my second tray filled out here. These are basically a little bit of tomatoes, mostly peppers, and 24 things of cauliflower. So we're gonna move on to the next batch there, and I think mostly what I have left are brassicas and melons, and also a couple flowers that I want to start. So we are in the home stretch now, I think. Okay, let's get this full of dirt before it keeps blowing away on me here. I can't find my broccoli, which is what I'm looking for. So Cole's gonna look through the boxes for me, but he did find these long red cayenne peppers that I forgot to start. So we're gonna do a couple of these while he sees if he can find the broccoli for me, because I want to start a good amount of that. I'm growing these cayenne so that we can make some spicy pickles and just add these to our salsas. If you're ever wondering on how to know what to grow, go ahead and think about what you eat all the time, and then figure out what's in those things and then just grow them, and you can make it and can it yourself. You can always start by getting a canning cookbook. or a canning, like the Ball canning cookbook. Find some recipes that look good. You can always look through the canning cookbook, find a recipe that you like, that you think your family would enjoy, and then it'll have the recipe in it. Just grow those things, kind of do it backwards, kind of like you would grocery shopping. Make your ingredients list, figure out what plants you need to grow to get those ingredients, and then go ahead and that's what you plant in your garden. Getting 32 broccoli, which sounds like a lot, and I'm hoping that it'll be enough. We eat a lot more broccoli than we do cauliflower, so I was looking to do about double, and I sort of did that because you get side shoots off broccoli, so once you cut it off, you'll continue to get more broccoli off of it. Unlike a cauliflower head, once you cut the head, the plant's done. We're gonna do my Napa cabbage next. I'm very excited about it. I've never grown this before, but I want to grow this for kimchi. These itsy bitsy little seeds, I'm just keeping the package and pinching out a little at a time, because if the wind catches me with these, they blow these everywhere. I'm never going to be able to find these, and I'm going to have a random things growing in my yard all summer long.
So we ended up laying the baby down for a nap. It took a little bit of an intermission, and my son was kind of bummed that his play partner ended up going down for a nap. So he came up and wanted to help me. So I gave him one more of these seed starting trays to start filling up while I finished tray number 3 here, and we are just about done. He really wanted to help start the watermelons and the cucumbers and all the things that he really likes to eat. So I told him that he could go ahead and fill out his tray and we would go ahead and start those. So here are 2 cucumber packets that we're going to be starting. Here are all of the seeds we ended up getting started. Lots of different things. I just wrote on it with a pencil. You can't really see it here, but I can. I know what everything is. It should be okay. There's always some that you're kind of curious and you're wondering, what are they? Things that I don't know if I showed you. Colt helped me do a bunch of cucumbers. He helped me do some marigolds. We're going to be planting marigolds kind of in our tomatoes this year. It's supposed to help with pests. My husband wanted to give that a try, so we're gonna do that. I ended up starting a whole 12 roll of marigolds. That should be enough. I'll also plant them probably in the corner of our raised beds as well, but just a couple different things. I still have another 4 of these trays that I probably will start. I still have some seed mix. I did not end up having to use my plastic cups that I bought, so I'm gonna save those. That way, when or if any of these need to be up potted, I can just pop them out of their cells here, hopefully, and up pot them into those cups, give them a little bit more breathing room. I'm hoping that I won't have to do a ton of up potting. That's kind of why I wait later in the season to do it. I don't like up potting. It's a task I absolutely I loathe it. Do not like it. So if I can wait later in the season and not have to up pot my things, that's what I'm going to do. So I prefer it that way. I start later, and that means I have to wait a little bit longer for vegetables. I'm okay with that. The only thing I did not start today were my squashes. I did do 5 zucchini. That's it. I will most likely end up direct sowing all of my pumpkins and all of my table squash, but like I said, I do have more seed trays, so I might end up just doing a couple starts of pumpkins and squash. Because I have the seed trays, I still have seed mix, so I might as well just use them. So we'll end up seeing what happens, but these are things that really needed to start, really needed to happen, and I'm feeling really, really good about that. We ended up getting 288 seeds started today, 4 trays at 72 cells a piece. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to hang out with me, start some seeds. Really exciting things happening. I'm so excited. Eventually, hopefully in the next couple videos, I'll have a homestead tour coming up for you guys with all of the new things that we've been doing. Taking time out of your day to hang out with me. I enjoy having you here, and I'll see you guys in the next video.